other types of performers is that you may take a principled stand and say, well, I'm not going to work with this person anymore because I find it objectionable. And especially if they tell you, it's one thing to agree to an amount, they pay you that amount, and then you find out they made way more money. That one is kind of a gray area because if you were happy with the negotiation, it shouldn't matter what they get.
Okay.
It does matter. Of course, it does matter. If this person's just booking you and they're not doing anything else, then you would want it a more equitable or fair arrangement. That's one thing. That at least is a fair business transaction. If you're supposed to be paid 300 and they don't pay you or they pay you 100, well, they're breaking the agreement. Um, the problem is there's 100 other comics that are willing to take that risk. So a lot of times that person keeps getting away with it because there's somebody else to fill the place.
Ah,
Um, until comics kind of rally around each other and say, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. And they do it on a small local level um, because it's more contained. So in my area, there's a few different bookers, usually comics that book shows. And if something happens with one of them where there's a question like that or something bad happened, there's an there's only so many comics in this area available for those gigs. And if they all say, yeah, we're not going to work with you anymore, then it works. Um,
ah,
but it's hard to do that like with the TV star who's only offering $80. Um, I mean, what do you do? There's going to be somebody else to take it. So I've had situations where um, I was on a TV show. I was in the very first episode of a panel show, and we filmed the segment. I did this one joke, and then we filmed it again because it was the first time. They wanted to make sure they got a good take and everything was right. The host, who's a comic who I knew, who wanted me to write for one of their other shows previously, took my joke and used it for the intro to the segment.
oh,
Stole a joke right in front of me and the audience and the executives and everybody worked there. And for some foolish reason, I expected fairness. I thought that somebody was going to go, all right, cut. What are you doing? You're not supposed to steal a joke. This is outrageous. You can't do this. And then reality set in. That's the host of this new show. They don't care. They want the host to look as good as possible, even though they just stole from me. So what I chose to
oh,
do was I said, I'm boycotting this TV show. I'm not going to come here again. And there were friends of mine who wound up doing the show. I don't think they knew about that because I didn't talk about this, and the show's not on the air anymore. And they went on to have big careers. That show was a launching pad for them. So because of my own integrity and because it was important enough to me, I decided I'm going to take a stand. But I had to deal with the consequences of that, which meant I didn't get a lot of the opportunities I could have. But so what? I knew I had to live with the consequences. So for me to complain about the consequences would be silly.
ah,
I think a lot of times we expect I'm going to take a stand and everybody's going to stand there with me. That's not reality most of the time. So realize what the consequences are and be willing to live with those consequences.
yeah,
Do what's right for you.
yeah. What is the flip side that you've